Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Ash Paulson to discuss his hands-on time with Bayonetta 2 and Kirby Star Allies. So let's get started. Alright Ash, so you got to go to a special event with Nintendo down in Los Angeles, and got to try out two upcoming games, one of which is brand new. But before we get to Kirby Star Allies, let's talk about the port of Bayonetta 2, and how much have you played of the Bayonetta series before this point?
To my great shame, not that much. I've played the first mission and maybe like one more mission in Bayonetta 1, and then I played the demo of Bayonetta 2 on Wii U. But I just, it's just one of those series that I've always been in orbit around, and I wanted to dedicate the time. I just haven't really gotten to. But it's it's not a lack of interest. It's just I never really have gotten a chance to get into them.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. There's a lot of series out there for different people where you want to take the time to play it. Just finding the time to play it is a bit of a challenge.
I love the aesthetics. Like I love the Bayonetta, like the over the topness. I love how just crazy balls to the wall and just over the top and all these crazy colors and butterflies, and I love that aspect of Bayonetta, which is why I do want to take the time to properly get into the series at some point.
Yeah, it's full of style, and I loved the second game. It came with the first one, but I never found the time to replay the first game in the series. So it's something I really want to try to do with the Switch version whenever it comes out. But you only got to try out Bayonetta 2, which you did play the demo before, so you had some familiarity with it. And what'd you think?
It was fun, and I played with the Pro Controller, which felt nice. I mean, obviously, again, I'm not a hardcore Bayonetta player, so I can't really compare it too much to the Wii U version, but from what I recall, the frame rate was very smooth, definitely targeted 60 frames per second, and I know the Wii U version did too, but I think it fell well short of that mark oftentimes throughout the experience. Whereas the Switch version, I didn't really get too many hiccups or signs of slowdown, so it felt like a pretty solid 60 frames, although, however, I should note, it is still 720p. So even though the Wii U version was 720p, so is the Switch version, both docked and handheld.
Yeah, I do think there are more frames in the Switch version, because when I was doing that comparison video using your footage and my own footage from the Wii U version, I had it lined up perfectly, but I kept having it just be slightly off on the Switch version because I think of those extra frames it was getting. Otherwise, it's especially looking at that comparison footage, it's basically the same game. Like, this really is just a port.
Although in this version, it should be noted, I guess, one of the Nintendo reps who was kind of walking me through the demo told me, and I think this was announced recently too, but you can get all the Nintendo Legacy costumes for Bayonetta by just tapping the amiibo in the Switch version. So if you have, like, the Fox McCloud amiibo, you can just tap that, and you'll get the Fox costume for Bayonetta without having to jump through whatever hoops you had to in the Wii U version. So
yeah, I forget what those hoops were. I don't remember it being too many hoops, but
yeah, probably not. But there's like Samus and Peach and Daisy and all those costumes. So it's nice for those owners out there of those amiibo. Little value there to get those costumes straight off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good to see, and the game still looks as good as ever, and just tons of fun.
Yeah, the cutscenes look great. I watched one of the early game cutscenes, and that looked great. I mean, it really is. If you've played Bayonetta 2, it's Bayonetta 2 as you know it, just on the Switch. They really haven't changed too much or really anything.
Yeah, and if you haven't played Bayonetta 2, all the better. You're in for a great game.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think it's really cool that hopefully this is the chance I take to get into the series, because I love the idea of being able to play these games in a handheld mode. I didn't get to do it at the event. I was playing on dock mode with the Pro Controller, but it's a great looking game. It obviously targets 60 frames per second, and it seems to hit it pretty much all the time. I'd love to have a game like that on handheld. So I think it's great that these games are coming to Switch, and I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, not too much really to say about Bayonetta 2, because you got, what, 8 minutes on with it? Maybe 10 minutes?
Maybe more like, I would say like 15 to 20.
Okay.
But that's including cutscenes too, though. So probably more like 10 minutes of actual gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things, but that's really all you need to get a basic understanding of what Bayonetta is all about. And
although, I will say this, if you check out the footage, for the last battle in the demo, I got a platinum medal, and the Nintendo reps at that day said no one, actually during the whole time, they said no one else had gotten a platinum medal, and I'm sitting there like, I barely played Bayonetta. Cool, I'll take it.
Yeah, I was like, I went to play again on the Wii U, and it'd been a long time since I played. Like, man, am I rusty.
Yeah.
I am super rusty at this game, but I'm looking forward to get back into it. probably go through Bayonetta 1 at the very least in order to finally experience that game and just enjoy the game as it is and keep supporting Platinum and getting them to come out with even more great games on the Switch. And get that, brush yourself up on Bayonetta before Bayonetta 3 comes out.
Yeah, and I have to get my mind out of Smash mode because I kept doing Witch Time when I was playing the Bayonetta 2 demo, and I kept getting annoyed by it. Not because, of course, I was playing well, and that's great, but Witch Time just annoys me because I hate going up against it in Smash. So every time she says, oh, so close, and goes into slow mode, or slow motion mode, I'm like, okay, this is good for me, but God, I'm so annoyed because I can just... the Smash part of my brain just it's so annoying. Witch Time.
Oh, you played it too much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. But yeah, you have to get that out of your system because that is a key feature of the game.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
All right, well, that basically takes care of Bayonetta. So tell me about Kirby. You've actually got the chance to play Star Allies both in single player and multiplayer. So let's go over your single player experience first. How does it play on your own? How well do the allies with you act as you're playing through the game?
They're really smart. The AI seems really, pretty great, pretty direct in terms of helping you do things that you need to do in the environment. Being a Kirby game, there are simple puzzles in the environment. Sometimes you'll need to, all four of you will need to pull on a switch at the same time, or there'll be cannons you have to light up. And in this instance, there were 4 different fuses. And, if you're playing with 3 other players, then you can coordinate. But if you're playing a single player, then you have to rely on the AI. Thankfully, the AI is really good at that. I had no problems doing what I needed to do in terms of getting some of the hidden collectibles, pickups, things like that. So I didn't really come across an obstacle that I was not able to do because the AI was, not up to the task. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the game it's going to be, obviously, it's kind of like that new Super Mario Bros. U or Wii type experience where it's probably more fun on your own if you're looking for that core platforming experience because the co-op can get so chaotic. But at the same time, you do lose a little something when it's just your AI buddies helping you get to hidden things and not, other humans next to you.
Yeah, I can understand that. When I was watching your footage of you playing the game with the Nintendo reps, I watched Roger's footage and Schiller's footage of Star Allies when I did that whole taking a closer look at the everything before we actually got a chance to play, and they only had one rep join them. You're the only one I saw that actually got the full 4-person party.
Well, yeah, I actually had a choice, and I'm glad I chose that because I was like, well, this is ultimately a drop-in, drop-out co-op game. I've got to play a little single player. I might as well, if they're offering, they said you can play with one of us or all of us. I'm like, well, I feel like I should be able to talk about the full 4-player experience. So let's just get you all in there. Mm-hmm. And then that's what you saw. So I'm glad I did that.
Yeah. And it does seem chaotic, especially if you're stone. You were stone, and you were just kept getting combined with and tossed all over.
Yeah, basically. So, Andre, prior to that demo, he had asked me, he's like, hey, one of the things that, we should probably try to get is as many stone forms as you can capture. I'm like, okay. So I kept an eye out for the stone enemy, when I was playing through the demo, and finally found one. And I was like, okay, here I go. And then the Nintendo reps here were like, nope, we're just going to keep transforming you into various things, and it wasn't really on purpose, but of course it's the overall chaos. They're on a schedule. Also, it's forward momentum. They want to get you through that demo in a reasonable amount of time. So it's not like they're going to be like, hey, we'll wait around while you record every stone form that you want.
We did see a new one though, because you got the Robobot form.
Yeah, that was so cool, right? And when I saw that, I'm like, that's the Robobot, and it was like, yeah. So that was a really nice surprise.
Mm. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It looks like a lot of fun. Chaotic as all get out. I like that your footage did answer a few questions. For one, when you go into the start menu, you did it early on when you had the sword ability. You took a look at it, and it actually does show in the start menu when you're looking through moves what it can combine with.
Oh, I must have missed that because I think I was mainly looking for a move list because Andre really wanted to know if there were move lists for each technique as well. Mm-hmm. So, but that's cool that it tells you what it can combine with.
Yeah, it was really quick, but I was looking over your footage. That's what I was looking for. I was actually, when I saw that, I was like, oh, Ash, no, this is where you need to stop so we can really show it. But nope, you're a little too quick. But if you take a look at Sword's ability, when you're paused like that, you can see what it combines with. And it seems a lot more limited than what I had assumed based on the trailers. Not super limited or anything like that, but it is very much elements and this physical ability.
Yeah,
and that's that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's you got to keep it simple to a point. But then you have like stuff like Fighter that doesn't seem to be able to get any elemental ability whatsoever. It can only just toss your allies around the map.
Right, which is pretty cool though. So in that way, the Fighter ability is kind of combined with the traditional throw ability as well, which is, kind of neat. And I think I basically showed that off a few times during the fight with Swole DDD. But yeah, you shouldn't basically, and I learned this playing through the demo, but you shouldn't go in necessarily expecting a Kirby 64 type ability matching experience, because it's not quite that mix and match. Like, you can't mix any ability with any other ability. As you said, certain abilities will mix with others. But the trade-off there is that not every ability combination results in just the same kind of ability. Like, some of them are contextual. So some friend abilities will be these crazy screen clearing attacks like we've seen, or little events like the friend train, as we've seen. But then there are other friend abilities, such as if you combine water and ice, like the water player, Kirby can shoot up a jet of water, and then the ice player can shoot the ice through the waterfall, and it'll turn it'll combine and become ice shards going out, which is really cool. But it'll only work for as long as both players are using their abilities. So it's not like the action stops and you get a screen clearing thing again. So only certain friend abilities are contextual in that way, where some will clear the screen, some will stop the action, and some you can just use in real time.
Yeah, I like that about it though. It's not the same sort of combination that 64 had, as you said. It's much more like a expanded version of the combination abilities in Kirby and in the Amazing Mirror, which is good, because the Amazing Mirror was kind of lame. It was very limited in what you could actually combine with. In that game. So to have it fully realized here is great to see.
And by the way, I have to throw it out there that the new ability that Kirby has in this game, or I hesitate to call it an ability, but the mechanic where he can throw his friend heart at enemies to turn them into friend. It's just so cute. I mean, literally, you tap the X button, at least when you're playing with the Joy-Con sideways. You tap the X button and Kirby just pulls his friend heart out and throws it, and whatever it touches turns into his friend. If only it was that easy. If making friends was that easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love that opening cutscene where it's like, oh no, the Poppy Brothers Jr. is after me, but I'll send my heart after him. Oh, he loves me now.
I love it, and then they nuzzle each other. It's so Kirby's, I've said this before, he's by far my favorite Nintendo character.
Oh, he is.
It isn't even close.
So freaking adorable in this. It's honestly a little bit of a shame that you didn't get to try out some of the new abilities that we've seen, like the
I know
Spider and Artist. Those
was there Doctor
cool
as well? No, that was from Planet Robobot.
Yeah,
the new one. I think Doctor was in that.
Yeah, and then there's also Cleaning It has returned and has been greatly expanded from its time in Dreamland 3. So it's like, man, it stinks a little bit we didn't get those, but obviously they want to push the big combination abilities at this point. So
exactly, and that kind of brings me back to when we were playing co-op. And you noticed this when we were watching my footage, but. It is very chaotic, and that's fine if that's the kind of experience you're going for. But one thing I actually didn't like about playing co-op specifically was that every time you get a friend ability, a new one, it stops the action, so the screen can can introduce the ability and pop the name of the ability on the screen. And when that happens over and over again, it starts getting a little grating, because it's like, okay, I know what these abilities do already. I've gotten them 5 times in the last 5 minutes. Yeah. So I did start feeling like, okay, the action stops a little bit too much when you get a new friend ability when you're playing with 4 players, and it's just chaotic.
And it's weird that doesn't happen all the time. It only happens, seems like, when you combine an elemental ability with a physical ability, because, you used friend throw with Fighter once, and it shows that big animation, but then you use it several more times and it doesn't worry with that animation at all. Same with Curling Stone.
It's the same with the ice water, the Curling Stone and the ice water waterfall thing.
So, but I think is once you combine powers, I think they expect you to just move on. I think once everybody sort of has a grasp of what they're supposed to do, here they're just trying to show, check out this power combination, check out this power combination. I can sort of envision them trying to do that with you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, of course, is not a typical session, because, yes, the Nintendo reps are trying to guide you through, push you ahead as fast as you can go, plus show off as many abilities as they can. So, of course, what you're seeing is not representative of maybe, a usual coordinated session with friends. But I just did notice that it can get a little chaotic, but much in the same way as New Super Mario Bros. U or Wii. But that's also part of the fun too. So it's just definitely know what you're getting into, and you definitely do though have to really coordinate if you're going to try to actually get through the game.
Yeah, and there's a lot there. Like, how did you enjoy the boss fights with Wispy Woods and Swole Dedede?
It was great. I mean, they were great only because, again, they're familiar characters and familiar bosses that, once again, play on your expectations. Like, I'm never going to get tired of Wispy Woods. Yes, he's literally the first boss in, like, every Kirby game. Maybe literally every Kirby game. I can't say for sure right now, but pretty much. And, like, but every time he does something different. Like, even in Planet Robobot, he was doing crazy things because he was mechanized. And this time, he's just dropping hundreds of apples on you at once and, like, completely clearing the screen with them and, or, like, filling the screen with them. And it's just, jumping around and, it's Kirby. They always find ways for these characters to remain, to stay appealing, to fight over and over again. And then, of course, you have DDD, who, again, is swole now. And it's DDD, but he's super buff. I mean, how can't you love that? His attacks had so much personality. It was like the Nintendo reps and I were just all having a great time, despite the chaos and all of us getting hit. Like, whenever DDD would do something funny, we'd all, like, laugh and... It's Kirby, like it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and the boss patterns, of course, are complicated enough, and that I expect, like every Kirby game, if you want to go for like the hardcore run, like hard mode, true arena, those boss patterns are going to get crazy complex.
Oh yeah, and, true arena is going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I do wonder how that'll work out for like AI type stuff. Like I do wonder how stuff like boss fights and the arena, that typical setup, how that'll work when the game is designed around having partners, whether they're humans or AI partners. So, yeah.
I actually, I was surprised looking over your demo footage, like how much I've got right with my analysis. Like I actually got quite a bit on the nose. Although... there is one thing I couldn't quite predict. Like, I'd seen the small puzzles, I'd seen the big puzzles, but I didn't quite put together what the difference might be. And then we see it in this demo that you played at the end, where the small ones fill in the blue spaces and the big ones fill in the pink spaces. And I saw a lot of people in the comments like, well, it's basically the like, let's bring back Miiverse, or not Miiverse, but
Street Pass.
Street Pass, that's it.
That's exactly what I said to the Nintendo reps. I'm like, okay, so what's going on with these, puzzle piece type things? We're like, well, we're not really talking about that yet. And of course, in my mind, I'm like, these are exactly the same kinds of things you just got in Planet Robobot. Same sound effect even when you pick them up. And Triple Deluxe. So it's like, it seems to be the same exact kind of collectible. And then of course I beat the stage and noticed that those puzzle pieces fill in puzzle panels that look exactly like the ones on Street Pass. And not only that, but the pink ones in the middle are the ones that are harder to find. They're like the exclusive ones. So it literally is Street Pass, just puzzle. I guess they're all Kirby images just dropped into this game.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that has a lot of potential, because my theory, I'm not sure if I'm right about this or not, but because we didn't get to see enough of the puzzle fill it in for me to say one way or the other. But my working theory is that as you complete each puzzle, it'll probably have a scene featuring one of the allies. And in one of the trailers, we saw the allies that you can get going off on their own without Kirby to be seen. So my theory is that once you fill in one of those puzzles, you get a certain ally and you can play them on their own. I think that'd be a really cool reward.
Me too. I like that idea way more than what I thought it was, which was, they're just going to unlock images for you to look at. Like, just literally like art, and which is cool. But I would much rather unlock playable characters like that.
Yeah, if they're not giving you individual keychains and little like special things like they did with Robobot and Triple Deluxe, I think they're going to have a bit more importance as far as what they actually unlock this time around, especially when they require so many puzzle pieces.
That's what, like that seems like a lot to require to unlock playable allies, but at the same time, putting in that much effort, I would hope it's more than just a picture to look at.
Yeah. I also like the fact that it sort of solves one of the problems of the keychains and the stickers in the 3DS games, where you had the rare ones that always showed up in certain levels, but then you had to collect the others and you could get repeats. Here, that doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem, because they'll just always fill in a spot, so you can get as many as you need and don't need to worry about having to just continually play a level in order to get one certain sticker or keychain. So it's
except for the pink ones, if you keep missing where they are and you just have to keep looking for them.
Yeah, true, but those same way as the rare ones. So that
exactly
way it goes. But it just, the game looks gorgeous too.
It does. I mean, it's again, I mean, and this is usually Nintendo's priority with their first-party games, but it's just of course, a buttery smooth 60 frames per second. I feel like I did notice a slight bit of slowdown when some of the screen clearing, like, friend screen clearing abilities would happen, from what I remember, but it was very minor and nothing at all that would be like a problem, in my opinion, if I was just playing by myself. So I feel like I did see a little bit of that, but nothing during actual like gameplay where you'd be like, oh, this feels different.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited to finally try it myself. I know looking at that demo, they definitely spliced together a bunch of different levels.
They did, and they actually even said that specifically. They're like, just so you know, the levels you're playing, they're just spliced together from a bunch of different ones. That's why there doesn't seem to be much continuity between the areas. I'm like, oh, I assumed. I mean, that's usually how these things go. The only thing, the last thing I'll say, because I kind of want to go over, was the controls. And the controls themselves, I mean, they feel great. They're super responsive. But there's something I didn't like about them. And that, at least when playing, we were all playing with the Joy-Con held sideways. And I didn't like the button layout. And I don't know if that's just me, like forgetting what the normal...
I completely agree with you.
Thank you.
Because I saw it up in the corner and I saw like, what the hell? The right button is jump, the bottom button is suck, and... What?
Yeah.
No.
So if you'll notice, like, I made some weird blunders during my footage. That's why, because I could not wrap my head around why the buttons were laid out the way they are. Because normally I'd want like B on jump, if assuming you're holding on sideways, B on jump and Y on inhale and ability.
Yeah.
Abilities.
And keep
that's not
X
how it is.
as the friend thing, and then A to drop your ability, and like.
Yeah. But the way they have it is Y, I think, is drop your ability, A is jump, and then B is your
inhale.
And it doesn't make sense. And I asked the reps if you can reassign the buttons, and they said no. So that's something I actually really don't like.
Maybe it's only for the demo itself.
I hope so. Like
I hope it's only for the demo itself. Like I can adjust, but it feels so wrong.
It doesn't. Yeah, it feels like I'm like playing the GameCube version of Mega Man Anniversary Collection, because they switched the run the jump and fire buttons.
Yeah,
the jump and shoot buttons in that image or in that version, and you couldn't switch them back. But the way they made it sound was that this is what it was going to be for the final game. I don't know that for sure, but it kind of sounded like that to me. So I don't know.
I hope not.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. But yeah, I figured when I saw that, I'm like, ooh.
I'm so glad that you like saw that and saw what I was talking about, because the whole time I was like, is it me? Like, why am I having trouble with this button play? This doesn't make sense.
Maybe that's why it's in the top corner, because they have to remind people what they actually have to do.
I don't know why they would do that. Yeah, like, I'm not a fan of that, but everything else I've played, of course, it's Kirby. It's another Kirby 2D platformer. I'm so excited. What little of the soundtrack I heard was good, of course. It's a Kirby soundtrack, so I can't wait to hear the rest of it. It's another Kirby game. I'm excited. Yeah,
same here. And thankfully, about a month and a half to go till we get our hands on it, so I can't wait.
Yeah, not too long.
All right, well, I think that covers it for our Kirby and Bayonetta preview discussion, so thank you for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course make sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on these titles and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.